In February 1959, a search party climbed a remote slope in the Ural Mountains and found a tent. It was half buried in snow. It had been cut open from the inside. The boots were still there. The food was still there. The 9 experienced hikers who owned it were gone. They had walked out into a night of minus 30 degrees, barefoot, in their underwear, down the slope, into the dark. None of them ever came back. 67 years later, we still don't know what they were running from. But here is what we do know, and it only makes things stranger. January 1959, 10 students and graduates of the Ural Polytechnic Institute set out on a ski expedition. Their leader was 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. Smart, careful, experienced. The route was rated Category 3, the hardest classification that existed. But this was not a group of amateurs. Between them, they had years of winter expeditions. They took a train north, then a truck, then skis. On January 28th, one member, Yuri Yudin, turned back because of joint pain. That decision saved his life. He said goodbye to his 9 friends at an abandoned settlement. This photograph of that goodbye is the last time anyone saw them alive. The remaining 9 pushed on, 7 men, 2 women. Their goal was Mount Otorten. In the language of the local Mansi people, the mountain next to their route had a different name, Kolat. It translates roughly to Dead Mountain. They were due to send a telegram by February 12th. The telegram never came. At first, nobody worried. Delays were normal. But by February 20th, families demanded action. Search parties went out. Planes, helicopters, volunteers. On February 26th, searchers found the tent on the eastern slope of Kolat. And immediately, nothing made sense. The tent was pitched correctly by professionals. Inside, 9 sets of boots, warm coats, food, cameras, diaries. Everything a person needs to survive a Ural winter night. Abandoned. The cuts in the canvas were examined by a seamstress during the investigation. Her conclusion, the tent was slashed open from within. They weren't broken into, they broke out. Below the tent, searchers found footprints, 8 or 9 sets heading downhill toward the forest, walking, not running. Some prints showed bare feet, some only socks. Whatever forced them out was terrifying enough to abandon their boots, but they left in an orderly line. That combination has haunted investigators ever since. A mile down the slope, under a huge cedar tree, they found the remains of a small fire and the first 2 bodies. Both men were barefoot in their underwear. The branches of the cedar were broken up to 5 meters high, as if someone had climbed it to look at something or to hide from something. 3 more bodies lay between the cedar and the tent, including Dyatlov himself. Their positions told a story. They died trying to crawl back to the tent, back to their clothes, against the wind, in the dark. They didn't make it. The first 5 deaths were ruled hypothermia. Tragic, but explainable. Then, in May, when the snow began to melt, searchers found the last 4 bodies in a ravine, under 4 meters of snow, and the case stopped being explainable. Nikolai Thibault-Brignol had a fractured skull. Semyon Zolotaryov and Lyudmila Dubinina had crushed chests, fractures that one examiner compared to the force of a car crash. Yet there were almost no external wounds, no bruises where the impacts should have been. One doctor said a human being could not have caused this force, and Lyudmila Dubinina was missing her tongue and her eyes. Zolotaryov was missing his eyes as well. Some of this can be explained by water and time. The bodies lay in a melting stream for months. Some of it is still argued about today. Then came the detail that turned a tragedy into a legend. Some of the clothing showed traces of radioactive contamination on a student hiking trip in the middle of nowhere. Why would anyone's sweater be radioactive? And there was one more thing. In the weeks around the incident, multiple witnesses, including other hikers and even military personnel, reported glowing orange spheres moving across the night sky in that exact region. One search party member described watching one himself in March. The Soviet investigation lasted 3 months. Its official conclusion was 1 sentence long. The hikers died because of, quote, a compelling natural force. The case was classified. The files went into an archive. The area was closed to expeditions for 3 years. So what happened? In 2019, Russia reopened the case. The official answer, delivered in 2020, a slab avalanche. A small heavy plate of snow slid onto the tent, injured some of the group, and forced them to flee. Scientists later published a model showing a delayed slab avalanche was physically possible on that slope. It's the best natural explanation we have. But critics point out the problems. The slope was only about 20 degrees, gentle for an avalanche. The tent poles were still standing. The footprints led away calmly in formation. And no avalanche explains radioactive clothing or lights in the sky. Other theories fill the gap. Katabatic winds, sudden hurricane-force air that could make staying in the tent impossible. Infrasound from the wind creating physical panic. A secret military test. The fireballs, the radiation, the classified files. The Mansi people were investigated and cleared almost immediately. Even an animal attack was considered. Every theory explains some of the evidence. No theory explains all of it. And that is what makes this case different from every other mystery. It's not that we have no evidence. We have diaries, photographs, autopsies, footprints, weather data. We have too much evidence, and it points in different directions. Today, the pass where they died carries Dyatlov's name. A memorial plaque lists all 9. Yuri Yudin, the man who turned back, spent the rest of his life asking one question. If I had been there, would it have changed anything? He died in 2013. He asked to be buried with his friends. Maybe it was snow. Maybe it was wind. Maybe it was something the files still don't say. The tent was cut from the inside. The footprints walked into the dark. And whatever those 9 people saw in the last minutes of their lives, they took it with them. What do you think forced 9 experienced hikers to cut their way out of their own tent? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more cases where the evidence itself doesn't add up, subscribe. The next one is a ship found sailing with no one aboard.